friends! It's that time of year again, and Halloween is fast approaching. Woo! I love all of autumn, of course, but Halloween is just so much fun, and as you might have guessed, it's a time when many of us cryptids are able to be out and about as our true selves without raising suspicion. Granted, some choose not to, because as nice as it is to be truly seen, it's not so nice when you remember you're only able to do so when people think you're a costume. But nonetheless, Halloween is a time for appreciating the strange and the scary, and finding the fun and beauty in it, and I think that's really neat. Since next episode won't come until next month, I'd like to just wish you all an early happy Halloween, or at least a happy fall, and I hope you all do something that makes you happy to make the most of this time. Okay, so I want to talk more about why I love this spooky holiday, but I'm a little scattered right now because I'm just so excited because I have here the first ever questions I've received for this show. Thank you so much to the people that sent them in. I'm so thrilled that you listened to the first episode and more thrilled to be able to respond to you in this one. Gosh, I really didn't think I'd get any listeners so soon. Wow. Anyway, the first question here is anonymous, and they want to know, how do you stay entertained? What do you do for hobbies? Great question. I do all sorts of things, actually. First of all, I'm fortunate enough to mostly pass as a regular human in my day-to-day life, so as long as I don't draw too much attention to myself and take necessary safety precautions, I'm able to go out and do things like go on walks or shop a bit, things like that, which I really enjoy. And even when I do stay indoors, I always make sure I have plenty of options to help pass the time. Besides working on this podcast, I enjoy reading, writing, arts and crafts like knitting and sewing, and listening to music. I also try to spend time with the other residents here as much as I can, although some of them aren't always very friendly, but that's okay. Next question here is also anonymous, and they ask, have you ever had connections with mortals who died? Whew, well, that's a bit more of a serious one, huh? But no worries, it's okay to ask big questions. I said I wanted to be open with you all out there, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'll just maybe keep this answer brief, since I don't want to bring the mood down too much. The short answer is yes, I have. I've been in love and been loved and had families and friends, and I knew I'd outlive them, so I generally just sort of parted ways sooner rather than later to try to minimize the hurt on both ends. It didn't really work, but I don't do well with death, so it seemed preferable to the alternative. But I never let those past connections, or rather separations, stop me from making new ones. I believe it's important to always find love in as many places as you can, as often as you can, in order to keep forming new relationships, making new memories, and gaining new growth. That's just a personal belief, but it's one I've stood by for pretty much as long as I can remember, and it's always served me well. Thank you both for the questions, and I look forward to getting more in the future. Getting back to the reason for the season, I want to talk a little bit about fear. It's funny how much we fear, and yet this one day of the year, we kind of revel in it. I think it's a way of giving ourselves a break from all the negative aspects of fear. There's a lot going on in the world and in our lives that's a huge source of fear nearly every single day, and it can get really overwhelming and draining to be constantly on edge, constantly thinking about the what ifs and waiting for the other shoe to drop. So I think it's important to take a step back from all that and celebrate fear just for one day and enjoy the good things about it. Fear is a defense mechanism at its core. It's designed to keep us safe. It only becomes a problem or a nuisance when it kicks in unnecessarily, like when you get really nervous before an audition. Is there any actual threat at that audition? Probably not, but because it's big and important, our fear kicks in to try to protect us from it. It can also be fun to be afraid sometimes. In small doses, fear is exciting and exhilarating. It produces adrenaline and noradrenaline, which are both chemicals that trigger our fight or flight. But they can also make us feel really alert and strong and ready to go, and they're even produced by things like exercise. Being able to indulge in fear in small and safe ways can be fun and refreshing, particularly because it can actually strengthen your courage. Think of it this way. If you're scared of a thing, you want to avoid it because it might hurt you in some way, right? But if you confront that thing and you come out unharmed, it tells your brain, hey, I survived this thing. Maybe it's not so bad after all. That's why people enjoy horror movies, or haunted houses, or scary games, because they allow you to confront fear head on in a safe and controlled environment and come out the other side intact and hopefully feeling a little braver. I'll give you a personal example. Some time ago, I was in a pretty rough place and I didn't really have any safe place to stay. I'd wound up in the woods, actually, just sort of surviving. I knew how to make a fire, thankfully, but other than that, I didn't have a lot of wilderness skills, so I wasn't very good at things like foraging for food or making shelter. So I was pretty out in the open, which was fine during the day, but when night came, I began to get scared. The darkness seemed to press in around me, closer and closer, and my little fire was pushing back with all its might, but it wasn't able to illuminate more than a few feet out from me. I wasn't able to fall asleep, too on edge to relax, and I was just sitting there, afraid for a long time. And then, on top of everything else, I heard coyotes begin to howl in the distance. I cried then. I'm not ashamed to admit that. It was a perfectly reasonable reaction given everything that had happened up to that point, the buildup of emotions that had peaked with this new bit of stimulus. It was almost worse knowing that there was a threat than imagining possible ones. At least when it had been just the darkness, the unknown, I could still try to reason with myself, tell myself that I was overreacting and that I'd probably be fine. But hearing the coyotes sitting out in the middle of nowhere with no shelter or defense other than my little fire was way worse because it confirmed some of my previous fears and introduced new ones. Before I could get completely paralyzed, I decided that the best thing I could do was stoke the fire as big and bright as I could safely do and hang on to the big stick I was using to tend to it, in the hopes that if I needed to, I might be able to use it as a weapon, even though, looking back, that's probably pretty silly. I don't remember how long I stayed awake for, and I don't remember when or how I finally fell asleep. What I do remember, though, is waking up early the next morning to see my fire reduced to a pile of barely glowing coals, feeling another brief jolt of panic that it was no longer protecting me, and then realizing that I had made it through to daylight, and I no longer needed it to protect me. I was unharmed, intact, alive, and I felt pride and reassurance in that fact. I was okay. Everything was okay. This Halloween season, I hope you try to find the good in your fear, or at the very least, I hope you find strength in it. It's okay to be afraid, and it's okay to not want to be afraid anymore, and most importantly, it's okay to trust that one day you won't be afraid, and you'll wake up one morning like I did, with the knowledge that you made it through, and you're safe. Whoever you are, whatever you're going through, you're going to be okay too. Thank you for listening, and stay strong out there, friends. See you next time. Halfway Human House is written and produced by Max Teachout. The voice of Fairlee is Max Teachout. The theme song is Ukulelean by Gideon Freudmann of CelloBop Music, with additional songs also by Gideon Freudmann. To stay updated on future episodes, follow us on Instagram at Halfway Human House or subscribe on YouTube, and consider supporting the show on Patreon for exclusive bonus content. If you have a question you'd like Fairlee to answer in a future episode, leave it in the comments below, or send an email to halfwayhumanhouse@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.